Hey, what's going on? E. Jones, bottom to the top hoops.
Black Elvis, we in the building.
Yo, L, man. Hopefully my voice holds out for this one. You know, I was on the coaching sideline this weekend with the New York Dragons over at Hoop Group, man. So please forgive me. I try to drink a little tea. So everybody, please, forgive my voice. I'm gonna try to hold it down and gut it out for the show. How you feeling, man?
Feel pretty good, man. Monday morning, feeling pretty good, man. Ready to get to it.
Yes, sir. So big shout out to all of the sponsors, world famous Harlem Wizards. Big shout out to MMCC. Big shout out to T-Mobile, title sponsor, holding us down, helping us make this happen. There's a lot of stuff going on. NBA playoffs. Last regular season game just happened. Knicks and Nets are in the playoffs.
Wow, isn't that a beautiful thing? The Knicks are in the playoffs. Let's get it.
Yo, so let me just say this, man. Let's just give it a quick kudos. We know the players win the games on the court, but let's just give Tom Thibodeau some kudos for bringing a defensive mentality, getting buy-in, and going with an old school style, which people say in today's game is kind of, not welcomed. But he was able to bring that mentality, and the Knicks look like a formidable team that has a real opportunity to win every night. What's your impression on Thibodeau in his first year?
Beautiful, man. He brought back defense, man. When the Knicks were good, we thrived on our defense. When you think about it, the only way to if you ain't got a bunch of A-lister stars, that's like the LeBrons, the Hardens, the Kyries, and then you're going to have to play as a unit. And it's going to require some defense. So
on the other side of that coin, it's good that you bring that up. It's a nice segue. The Nets do have that star power. They do have those, first-tier players in Durant, Harden, and Kyrie. And then you look at it, they got a Blake Griffin and guys like DeAndre Jordan, Landry Shamet. They got a really, really good, talented team, but there's a pressure that comes with being able to balance out the egos, spread out the minutes and the shots, and get those guys to buy into team and trying to win a championship as opposed to personal record stats. Because what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of players' production, field goal percentage, points average, assist average, all-star game, first team All-NBA, those are all tangible goals that get players bonuses.
Absolutely.
So, guys have team goals, but, they've gotten enough money that maybe that stuff doesn't matter, but, there's some ego involved, so you have to manage that as Steve Nash, and it seems like the Nets are playing with and for each other. What's your impression on the Nets this year?
I'm loving the way the Nets, especially now they got their core back, I think they only need 2 out of the 3 to really, take the East.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to agree with you on that because I'm a Philadelphia 76ers fan, and we did clinch the top spot in the playoffs for home court throughout, but that's another story. But, we'll see what happens. But just kind of transitioning into what we wanted to talk about, as we mull over topics, we kind of delving into the AAU season. And I'm seeing this firsthand, Al. We talked about a topic in how parents are putting pressure on kids or how they should conduct themselves, right? Mm-hmm. On the sideline, and coaches are recruiting your child as well as the parent. But I think when we speak from a perspective of educating, I don't think we've ever touched on, because we're very, very conscious about speaking about, the kids need to get up shots. The kids need to make sure they take care of their academics. The kids need to make sure they're in the gym, they lift and they're in shape. There's a lot of responsibility. But although it should be carefree being a kid, there's a lot of people who fall in the same realm. Talented, but not elite. Want to be Division I, but might be too slow, too short, not athletic enough, don't play against the right competition, not on the sneaker. So there's a pressure that comes with trying to make it and trying to prove that you may not be EYBL, but you're good enough to play at Hofstra, or you're good enough to play at, Wagner. So let's not overlook the kids and the pressure that they feel on trying to please their peers, the AAU coaches, the high school coaches, and most importantly, their parents.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think, I know I was, but I think that you were in that category where you always played with elite players and you felt like you were in the conversation of like being a Division I talent. What was your mindset coming down the stretch of like trying to become a Division I athlete?
Well, E, like what it does, honestly, E, it makes you deal with reality. When it's that time, because, like me being one of those kids, I didn't have the major Division I schools recruiting me. You know what I mean? So I had to go JUCO. And that wasn't really a good feeling because the people that I thought I was on the same level was getting Division I scholarships and they was moving on. But you know what I realized? Everybody's journey is different, but you have to deal with your reality. That's the key, because your reality can make you take it to a whole nother level.
That's a very good point, because my story was the same. I went to junior college. I was able to make a career out of basketball, played and had success in college. And I had fun, right? And it was, although I don't know if I was super excited about the opportunity. I was going to college, I was getting a scholarship, but it wasn't what I wanted. So there was a level of disappointment. And I don't know about you, but there was disappointment within myself that I felt like I let myself down. But I also was wondering, like what are people gonna say? Because you gotta deal with your peers and public opinion. And I think if I could educate student athletes, man, live your journey. Like walk in your own shoes and not anybody else's. And whatever somebody thinks or says, they can't go to school for you. Do your schoolwork, play in the games, and write your career path. And you don't need to be as concerned with what somebody else has said. And on social media, you commit to a Division II or JUCO, they're celebrating you anyway nowadays, right? So I feel like once you get there and you're in college, you realize that somebody's at Duke or North Carolina and you at Sullivan, you having a good time too.
Yo, that living your truth. That's the key, and be the best at who you can be in your truth. That's the key, man. And a lot of these coaches and a lot of people, a lot of kids don't have mentors. And these kids are not really hearing that. I remember when I was coaching, and everybody used to look at me, they used to be like, yo, dude, you bugged out. Why would you say that to that kid? No, because I needed someone to say that to me. I would have saved myself some time. Like, everybody in my life was like, yo, so what's the next move? Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like, Mr. Lloyd was trying to send me to San Jacinto in Texas. I thought it was too far. I went to Sullivan so I can come home because my parents bought me a car so I could drive back and forth. When I wound up going to school there, then Ulster, then wound up going to Texas Southern anyway. You see the backwards? But the level of play and the level of competition as a freshman would have put me in a whole nother lane by the time I was ready for my junior year. And that's the key.
You might have wound up at SMU. But it happens the way it's supposed to. But I'm gonna just glance over the fact that you had a car when you was a freshman in college. I'm not even gonna touch that.
Ali Mo was my roommate, so you know what that was. That was my best friend. Yo, Al, whenever you go back to Harlem, let me know.
It was a movie.
R.I.P. to Ali Mo, man.
Well, rest in peace, man. Ali Mo, that's my guy. So, Al, I want to touch on one more thing. There is a level of pressure that comes with wanting to please your parents, right? I'm not even talking about basketball first. your schoolwork, accolades, anything that you're involved with. You want your parents to be pleased because these are people who are making sacrifices to make sure that you have what you need, the latest in clothes, travel, trips, and then translating it over to the basketball side, wanting to see you be amongst the best kids on the court, playing well, then hopefully getting into the scholarship conversation. I think you add another layer to it if the parent has played some kind of a sport and is competitive. And I don't know if parents really understand, right? Because if it was my generation, your generation, we didn't really feel that pressure. I never really felt like my dad or my brother was like on me to make it. You gotta make it.
Our parents didn't even come to our games. Let's keep it 100, bro.
It's a fact. So I just want to just enlighten for 1 second, El. If I could get on my soapbox, if you don't mind. So parents, all right, this is me talking to you now. Your children would want nothing else but to please you. They would want nothing else but to make you proud. They would want nothing else than to go out there, get 30 points a game, fit a 3.5, and let you go into work on Monday morning and tell your friends about how great your child is. They would love that. They're not turning it over on purpose. They're not missing the 3 on purpose. They're not nervous or anxious or whatever it is on purpose. Your children are your children and you're going to love them regardless. But I think when you want it so much, sometimes you lose sight of what the big picture is. And the big picture is that is your child, and you have the opportunity to have an amazing influence on them beyond what you've done in terms of parenting. Sports is a great teaching opportunity. And sometimes we miss that because of what we want to see happen. Take a minute to step back and just appreciate that your child has the talent, has used it, and taken advantage of the God-given gifts that they have to be able to compete. Now, if they are so fortunate and lucky enough to be able to be a scholarship athlete and save you, some money, I'm not saying don't be passionate. I'm not saying don't be involved. I'm not saying don't be intense. But have some balance, because when you push too much and there's not enough pulling or enough stepping back or enough conversation or enough other stuff, going to get ice cream, going to get pizza, going to the movies, going bowling, do other stuff with your kids. It's not the end all be all. Basketball doesn't start and stop your life. These kids need love. These kids need attention. These kids need a pat on the back. They don't always need, at the end of the game, an evaluation. Sometimes it was just a rough one to say, yo, man, you want to go to the movies tonight? And the kid is looking at you, and you got to spin it sometime, man, because they're looking for the browbeaten. And sometimes we have to use the analysis and play psychologists sometimes and build a kid up. And that might be the thing they need to take a deep breath and know, you know what, regardless of what, I'm not letting my mom or my dad down, because it's just a situation of love. And I just have that on my spirit, El, because awesome. I see so many parents and kids that relationships get severed and soured and it goes south and kids stop playing because those parents are just putting so much pressure on them. And I don't even think it's done purposefully. I just don't think they have a chill button and they can't see themselves. That's one thing you spoke about. You can't see yourself.
Yeah.
So I know I rambled on. I had to get those off.
No, that was awesome, E. That was awesome. We needed that. I would like to say I see a lot of these parents trying to vicariously live through their kid. They're like, well, I tried, I didn't make it, or this one didn't do it, or that one. So you going, nah, can't do that, because it's just not fair, because now you're putting all the extra. You don't think that kid wants to really be a Division I player. You don't think that kid is really trying to make every shot. You think, you know what I mean? But this how the ball goes. And parents got to be not at the level of a child. They got to see it as a parent. Like you said, spin it. Come on, man. We're going to the movies tonight. We forgetting about sports, man. We're going to enjoy us being the Blounts today.
That's it, man. That's it, because if you don't build that relationship outside of basketball, God forbid something happens and that ball stops bouncing, you don't even know what to connect or talk to your child about, because the one connecting thing was the sport. It's a beautiful sport and I love it, but it could be dangerous if it's not kept in the proper perspective, and it could sever relationships between, a mom who's like, leave him alone, and a dad is like, man, forget that, man. You need to go harder. Stop being a punk. Like, listen, all we know how to be is who we are. And at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's going out there to mess up on purpose. I'm the first one to tell a kid, yo, you got to go harder. You got to play tough. But at the same time, I'm the first one to put my arm around a kid and say, yo, man, it's over. Like, let's move on. You know what I mean? There's a healthy balance. And listen, I'm probably guilty of the same things that I speak of, right? Because I'm so passionate about the game. But when I take a step back, I also evaluate myself, and I'm able to just be able to say, you know what, I'm bugging. Like, maybe I'm being a little over the top. Maybe like the moment got the best of me. And I'm just saying, parents, it's okay. You might have gotten away from yourself. You might be representing yourself in a way that you don't want to. Let me be the one to tell you, like, you could still change course, still right the ship, and still be in a situation where you could sever that relationship. And it may make your kid play a little bit better because they feel more of an ease and a freedom to, be themselves and not have to live up to this unrealistic expectation.
Yo, but at the level when we're talking about AAU, the pressure that these parents are putting on these kids and the coaches, this is why they pay these guys millions of dollars to go out there and produce. But if you're doing that to a kid and he's 14 and he's got to have that all the way to 18, what type of mindset does he have if he doesn't make it?
You almost consider yourself a failure.
You understand where I'm going? And this is why our parents need to really hear what E. Jones is saying. You got to hear it because it's real, because you got to step back. Because do you know how kids, they live their entire life being catered to? And everybody, it's all about them. And then all of a sudden they don't make it. Everybody throws them away like a piece of paper. And this goes on every day.
It's a really good point, man. You spend the better part of your athletic career, and if you're good at athletics, usually the scholastic side, in terms of your schooling, like, people in school usually put you on a pedestal as well. And the minute you don't have the same value, the phone calls don't get returned as quickly. There isn't any more showering of gifts, and you can just fall out of pocket and fall from grace so quickly, and people don't know how to adjust. And you say to yourself, like, what happened to the money that you was given? Like, the allowance ain't the same. Like, where the shoes that they were sending, all of that's because you don't have the cachet, right? You don't have the following. You don't have the notoriety, and then you have to adjust to that, and it's hard. And you say to yourself, well, what do I do now? You got to get a job. Get a job. People always gave me stuff, but you never worked for it.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Let me not say that. Let me just retract that statement. I can't say that you didn't work for it, because in order to get to that point, you had to put some work in. So you got the gifts because you did work. But the child may not understand what that association is. You go to work, you get a paycheck, there's a value associated. You just feel like they're giving you stuff because you're talented at basketball, and that doesn't feel like work. But when you get to a level where basketball becomes a job, probably after 15, if you're good, it's really a job. Hate to break it to some people, But when you're in high school and you're on the track to become a Division I player and you're putting more time in with basketball than you are with family and academics, then it's a job. Right?
Bottom line.
Like, and that doesn't just mean in the gym. That means weight training, running, driving to and from games, in hotels. That's all basketball related stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Your time is spent mostly doing basketball. So if that's your occupation and you're trying to be great at it, it's really a job. And that's what kids need to understand as well. Like, this is a business.
Yeah.
And at 15 years old, when you're a freshman in high school, I would love for you to just be able to be a kid and enjoy it. But if you want to be really good, you got to understand, you know, and that's the parent's job, to protect them, right? To keep them from just falling into that thing where it's just so business, and like balance them off and help them to understand, no, put it down. Like, you went to AAU 3 weekends in a row, you got the weekend off. No, you're not playing with this random team. We're going to Poconos as a family.
Exactly. Balance.
You know,
Balance.
Balance. So Al, man, this was one that was on our hearts. Hopefully it reached some parents, and hopefully it may reach some parents who've experienced this and maybe, you know, not done it the right way. It's okay. You know, own it, apologize, rectify, reconnect with your kid, and just, you know, just know that you have an opportunity to help somebody else's child, to speak from your experience. On that note, check us out: YouTube, Spotify, Apple TV, bcomtv.com. Big shout out to the team: D. Jones, Jerry Ice, everybody who contributes and supports the whole OSL fam. Make sure you check out that OSL Unsigned. We got some things coming up. We play some kids daily, man. Al, as usual, you get the last word.
Big shout out to, like we love to say, the Decisions team. We working. Was filming yesterday. Shout out to Sean Black. Shout out to Off the Grid. You know, doing big things. We just had a great interview. We just did 2 interviews, so we setting up for season 2. Shout out to my boy Sap. Went with him and did some behind the scenes stuff with the bartenders. So shout out to them boys, doing great things, man. You know, health is wealth. You know, and shout out to Asante Richards, trying to put together this little Tuesday and Thursday workouts. So we're gonna have workouts, and it's gonna be, you know, physical training, conditioning, and skills. So, you know, we're just trying to put it together. You know, you consult and all that, you know, so you know how we do.
Yo,
no,
man.
Hold up, but I gotta say it. Can't end it without saying shout out to the man upstairs who make it all happen for both of us and all of y'all.
Yo, rest in peace to Black Rob, man.
Rest in peace, Rob.